Hey guys, how's it going? Eminem Gaming here, and today we're back with another video. And today we'll be talking about the future of PlayStation and some of my personal worries. Now, don't see this as me sort of hating on PlayStation or I like the direction that they were going in before, but I just have a few worries. And this is all an opinion piece. This is all opinion, so literally let me know yours because mine isn't right. It's just my opinion, you know what I mean? But yeah, what I wanted to talk about was the kind of direction I see things going and my worries, in general. Now, PlayStation 3 at the start was getting absolutely destroyed by the Wii and the 360, and I've said ever since this gen really started, I said the PS4 is so successful literally because they learned from the PS3. So really, I think thanks to the PlayStation 3, yeah, it was the best thing that ever happened to PlayStation, in my opinion. But let's talk about some of the moves that I'm incredibly worried about and some of the things that I think they need to either reevaluate or focus more on, and some things, ideas that maybe they should just cut out entirely. And this is again just my opinion. But first of all, this PlayStation 4.5 4K, it's dead in the water. I'm sorry, guys, and I know some of you may disagree. If you release this console with literally zero incentive to buy it, nobody's going to buy it. Why did we buy the PlayStation 4? Well, we knew we've had the PlayStation 3 for so long, we can save up our money and we can get ourselves a nice shiny new PlayStation system. The problem was, 2 years after, people are not going to buy another PlayStation. Why? Because what they're saying is there's going to be no new exclusive games. Now, I, for one, don't believe that for a second. You cannot, and a company knows this, you cannot launch a new console with not one exclusive game. Look at the Wii. Do you know what I'm saying? That's got barely any. It's got some, though. And that's sold 12 million and been discontinued. Bear that in mind, people. You cannot launch a new console without games. You just can't do it. I'm sorry. I don't care how you spin this, how you say anything. You cannot sell a console with zero exclusives. Now, people are telling me, and rightfully so, because this is what they're being told, that it's just to enhance the experience. It's just to make the experience better. But you say to the casual gamer, right, you've got yourself here a £300 console. It plays all the games that this console over here plays, but is half the price, okay, or even more. How much? I don't know how much a 4K gaming thing would cost, because it certainly ain't a £50, £100 upgrade. I'm telling you that for sure. So it's going to be. Usually, when you make a slim of a console, it lowers the price, meaning that more can be produced and more profit for the company. In this occasion, you're actually raising the price, and yeah, I just don't see how it works. And people may say to me, oh, well, Sega did this, Nintendo had an upgrade for games like Majora's Mask and all this, and that's completely true, but that was an upgrade. You didn't have to trade in your whole console for this new thing. Now, you drop this, and it has exclusives, let's just say God of War 4. That's so beautiful, so much power in that you need a new console. Okay, you've split and you've kind of slapped 40 million people in the face, but no offense to you guys who may just have a PlayStation 4, but I invested in this pretty much straight away, and I'm getting slapped in the face even harder. Now, let's just say they launch this system and it has zero exclusives. You're giving people no reason to buy it. So as a company, and I'm sure Shuei Yoshida, he's fine with it, but if I was on that marketing PR whatever team, I'd be sat here like, how the hell am I going to sell this to the 40 million existing PS4 users? How am I going to sell this to a casual gamer who plays FIFA, Madden, NBA. How am I going to sell this console to him? Because at the end of the day, he doesn't care. Can I get the game on there? Will it run well? Yeah. Well, why have I got to pay an extra £600? Well, you don't. Well, do you know what I mean? What's the selling point of this 4.5? There's none. As far as I'm aware, there's none. Okay, you can run games and they're going to look beautiful. And if it was a reasonable price, I'd probably pick it up for the VR aspect. But I'm telling you guys, if this launches, it's dead. It's dead on arrival, and it could be the end of Sony because it's not cheap to launch a new console. And if no one buys it, that certainly is going to be hit Sony's pockets hard. And they're only just, as a whole company, now not just, people will tell you, oh, PlayStation's the only thing making them money. Well, that used to be true, and it's not so much now. They are actually making money as a company and are in the green. So, well, they're still in debt, but they're moving forward. This could bankrupt them, and this could be the end of PlayStation, or at least Sony, and then someone else would buy PlayStation, and it wouldn't be the same thing, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. And I'm not going back to the days of owning Nintendo because they've got frisbee controllers and Stewie's head on it. I'm not using that. And Xbox, I mean, they're moving towards digital only, and they're moving at it at a very quick pace, but not really giving you any incentive to really move to that. But I mean, it'd be very interesting. I can see me straight onto that PC if they did go, but I hope they don't. And now the second thing I want to talk about, and I was talking to my friend Viletsu. I'm sorry if I pronounce your name wrong, man, but yeah, he's really helped support this channel. I know it's not a big channel, but he's on every one of my videos. He always comments, he always watches, and that's awesome, man. So thank you for all that. And he was asking me, am I going to do a little bit about Evolution Studios? And I did a thank you video, but I wanted to go into a little bit more depth because I didn't want to talk about business aspects and, the future and all that when, I never know. They could watch. I think actually the head of Evolution Studios may have actually watched that video, which is very surprising. But yeah, I mean, I didn't want to go too much into it when people have just lost their jobs, but it is a talking point, and it's a very important talking point to kind of bring up, in my opinion, and that is Sony was, I mean, famous for having first-party studios. Zipper Interact. I'm going to name a few that they've got rid of. Zipper Interactive, the guys who did SOCOM, big studios, Liverpool, Sony Liverpool, and now Evolution Studios. That is 4 massive studios that you've canned. The problem with that is you've replaced them with no one. You haven't replaced these studios, you've just got rid of them. Now, I understand at the time with Zipper and Big and Liverpool and all these guys that you were going through some financial difficulties at that time, and you had to do it because as a company you couldn't afford to keep them on. Now, I understand that and I respect that because ultimately if you don't have the money, the millions of pounds, to run a company, you can't keep a first party studio running under that under those sort of circumstances. So I respect and I understand the standpoint of Sony back then. But as I have said to you guys, they are making money. Drive Club sold nearly 3 million copies. Everyone was loving it. They'd improved the gameplay, they improved the style, they improved the graphic, they improved everything about the game, adding new difficulties and all this sort of stuff. At the same time, they still canned them, And really, I'm sat here like, what did you want? What were you expecting Evolution Studios to do when you get rid of 54 people after launch? What were you expecting them to do? I certainly wasn't expecting as much free content, as much paid content as they give us. But what was Sony expecting them to do? I have no idea. The problem we have here is there is a massive gap now. there is a massive gap. We only have, I mean, you look at, maybe the Xbox and you kind of think, oh, a little bit lucky, and maybe we shouldn't be complaining as much with, you know, them kind of having like 8 first-party studios, and most of them are like Kinect games, AR, HoloLens games. Maybe we're a little bit lucky with like Santa Monica, Polyphony, Media Molecule, Naughty Dog. A lot of great first-party developers, and 14 of them. But at the same time, I'm like, you've cut the budget now. Why was this budget cut? Why was it needed now? Was it for opening up for these maybe Lionhead? Give Lionhead Studios, ex-devs, give them their own first-party studio? That would make me a little less angry because, Lionhead are very good. Was it because you're planning on buying Kojima's studio? Because there's rumors of that. Are you planning on buying maybe Insomniac? Because I know they have a lot of interest in them. EA they published a game with. Microsoft they published a game with. So they're not going to be independent for much longer. And if Ratchet and Clank is not a success, which I think it will be, but let's say that's not a success, you're not going to have Insomniac making many, whatever the hell I'm trying to say, many more games for you exclusively when they have no contract. So Insomniac will go, whoever wants to buy them, they'll go there. I think Sony, you could get them, but you're going to have to move if you want to get them. That's a possibility. Quantic Dream have a great relationship with Sony. I could see them buying them. Housemarque, great studio. They could buy them. But the worrying thing is, was this for VR? Was the VR push the reason why Evolution Studios went under? Now I'm going to address this because I've seen this a lot on Twitter, and again, you're right to be angry, guys. I'm not saying you have no right to be angry because you've lost, like myself, one of my favourite first-party studios. Of course, I like Polyphony Digital more because they do Gran Turismo, the best racing game, but at the same time, they were a great studio, and I do feel a little bit angry about losing that first-party studio. And like I said, if they went second-party or third-party, I'd support their game if they had a Kickstarter or something. I think that's the best way we can kind of support these guys. But now let's talk about the VR thing. Why I don't think it was the case, at all. VR, they were working on it. So if this was a company, let's just say off the top of my head, I don't know, Santa Monica. It wouldn't be because they're the biggest studio, one of the biggest studios they have, alongside Japan and Naughty Dog. So it certainly isn't going to be them guys. But let's just say they went and they weren't working on a VR game. I could understand because resources, they were taking away resources from a developer who, could work on a VR game. Maybe, Media Molecule, they're working on a VR game, so they wouldn't take resources away. They took away, from a team working on a VR game and one of the biggest launch VR games in Drive Club and Drive Club Bikes. So I don't think that's the case. I think the studio was struggling to make the game. I think they were, because they're not the biggest studio now. Because of, again, I'm not having a go, but Sony stripped their studio bare, and they really had no way of probably, doing it. Making a VR, because you have to do it at 120 frames per second. You need to do, you need to like render it twice. It's a complicated process, and for a smaller team to do it on a AAA game, I think they couldn't do it. I don't think they were reaching their deadlines, and yeah, I think, for me anyway, I think they struggled to meet the deadlines. They were costing Sony a lot of money to keep open, and maybe the interest in Drive Club went down. But again, it's sad, guys. My thought on the whole thing is I am very hopeful. I'm not going to say confident because I'll tell you when I'm confident, guys, but I'm not at the moment. I'm very hopeful they pick up at least 2 to 3 new first-party developers. The three I want: Kojima Productions, which is a very realistic one. Um, great, great relationship with Sony, and yeah, I can see that happening. The next one I'd like is Housemarque. I think I'd like Housemarque and give them the money and the capital to actually produce a AAA game. I think that would be amazing. And the final one I'd want, and again, it's to tie them down because I don't think you're going to have them for much longer. Second party, and that is Insomniac, and Resistance could be a great VR game. People are like system selling VR games. Resistance would be that. I don't think you make it exclusively VR, but you make it VR compatible. That Ratchet and Clank series. Maybe even get Sunset Overdrive 2. Exclusive. I don't really know, guys, but Sony need to sort this out because I feel like 40 million PlayStation 4 owners, who are all probably, or most of them, using PlayStation Plus. We're certainly not getting it invested back into games for the PlayStation Plus. So we really need. Come on now, let's push this. Let's get some new developers on board. Because in my opinion, now I could be wrong because what do I know? But in my opinion, you cannot run a studio exclusively expecting third party and second party studios to do amazing things. You don't have that full control. We just have to look at Rhyme and Tequila Works. They were a scam. They ultimately were scam artists, and I just think Sony really needs to kind of sort this out a little bit. They need to get themselves some new first-party developers, and if they don't, I'm a little bit worried about the future. But that's just my opinion, guys. Let me know down below. What do you think? Are you worried as me? Do you not really care? Do you think it's just what they call trimming the fat, getting rid of some first parties? Let me know down below, guys. But this has been M&M Gaming. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you're not. And I'll catch you guys in a new video very soon.